Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David Baruch Hashem. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, protect Klal Yisrael. Unbelievable, the attack we had the other day, and then all these things going on. We only can rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ein lanu lisho'ein ela avinu shebashamayim. All the Sfarim say that when we come to that stage and we realize that there's no one we can rely on, only it's Hashem, that's when Mashiach will come. When we all realize, Ein lanu mila sha'ein ela avinu shebashamayim, we can only rely on Hashem. That's when we get our salvation. And I think we're coming to that stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
We're coming to that stage to realize it's not our governments, it's not this, it's not that, it's all the Rabbeinu Shalom.
How many of us have to realize that?
We all will. Yeah, we all will. Don't worry. We all will. Somehow Hashem can do that he can make it happen in a split second. In a split second, people's views can change. All right? Okay. Let's rely on Hashem. Okay, we'll learn the Likutey Halachos Baruch Hashem Hilchos Netilas Yadayim L'Suda, washing our hands for a meal, to have bread. We're in Halacha Vav, which is 6, and today we're up to letter Tzadik Tes, which is 99. Baruch Hashem. Wow. So yesterday we were learning the importance of the pasuk in Ekev, where it starts off Eretz Chita Saira, right, and then it ends off with Eretz Zayt Shemen Udvash. Remember we learned that yesterday, right? The pasuk in Ekev, right? A list of 7 species of Eretz Yisrael, right? So we have the first one, which was Chita, and the last one is Dvash, which we said is honey. So the main thing is to join together the bread, the chita, which is the bread, together with the honey, which is what we do on Rosh Hashanah, right? Okay, the end is, again, all the ends are always din, right? So the honey is din, and we take the chita and we dip it into the honey, and then we sweeten the judgment, mitigate the judgment, okay? Today we're going to continue the lesson. Here we go, and this is Tzadik Tes 99. Ine kol inyan Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippur. So now we're going to study the ideas of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, right? Isn't that nice? Sukkot and the Arba Minim. Kvar mevoya habe mizer al pi ha-Torah nal ki merachim yenagim. Behilchas ha-Koidmim, behilchas Sukkah daled, halacha daled. Again, Reb Nosson is saying that, again, when Reb Nosson wrote Likutey Halachos originally, they were different books. You had Halacha Aleph, Halacha Beis, Halacha Gimel, Halacha Dalet. So you would have gone through all of the Alephs, all of the Beises, all of the Gimels, all of the Dalets. So he says, you already went through Sukkah, Dalet. You already went through Sukkah, Dalet. We didn't do it yet. We're not up to it yet. Right? But in the way it was done originally, he would have gone through already Sukkah, Dalet. All right, but he's going to help us out, so don't worry. Ubehilchas Nidorim Halacha Dalet, Ois Ches. Ubehilchis cheskas metaltalin halacha gimel ois ches. Okay, so these are different places. He's going to draw from all of these lessons. And Mitzvah Hashem will get up to all of these lessons, but now he's going to draw from those lessons. Ata iskeinu levoyer sheika kola tikunim nasim b'chol yerach eisonim shehu tishrei. Al yedei malus hakibutz hakodesh shemekashrin atzman l'tzadik emes. The main way we make all of the rectifications and all of the tikkunim and everything that happens in the Yerech Eisanim, which is the Chodesh of Tishrei, right? That's the Chodesh of all the holidays. It's the one that the Chodesh has the most holidays in it. Okay, it's the most special. It's one of the most special months that we have. Okay, this is because we get together and we all get together. And especially the kibbutz that we get together with the tzaddik yamas, right? Getting together with the tzaddikim. Shein bechinas Moshe, bechinas haroya amiti, hamekabsim, bechinas Moshe hoya roya. The idea that Moshe Rabbeinu was the shepherd, right? We always make this reference that the Jewish people are like the sheep, right? And in general, we all flock together. We do what we're supposed to do. but then we have those that fall astray, right? We have those that fall astray, and it says the tzaddikim are there, and they bring them back. They bring them back. And that Moshe Rabbeinu was the shepherd. And we know it wasn't only Moshe Rabbeinu, but it was also Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They were also shepherds, right? They were also shepherds. Again, to be able to appreciate Klal Yisrael, you can understand it through sheep. And it's amazing, right? David Amalek, right? Our king. He was a shepherd, right? He understood Jewish people. He understood us because he understood us based on the sheep. And the same way the sheep act, that's the way, unfortunately, we act. Okay, but again, the tzaddikim help us with that. Okay, b'chinas Rosh Hashanah, b'chinas Tekiya Shofar shemekabetz nidachim. The same way, when we have on Rosh Hashanah, right? We blow the shofar, right? Hello? Guys, we blow the shofar, right?
Yep.
So the shofar is to make a call, you blow, and people say, oh, we have to come in. Right, like we said when we were in the desert, they would blow the trumpet, and then they knew which shevet would go based on the sound that they made. They knew, okay, this shevet goes, this side goes, the north goes, the east side, the west, the side, and we understood. So too with the shofar, we blow, it brings people in. The Yom Kippur, mafsif, mefaisan, zeh. Right, before Yom Kippur, we have to be mepayas each one, right? In other words, Yom Kippur forgives us for the averos that we did ben adam lamakay, right? Anything that we did against Hashem, right? Pay attention, guys, right? Anything that we did against Hashem, Yom Kippur is forgiving us, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but the things that we did between ourselves, right? Our friends, family, partners, customers, clients, and whatever that we did that we wronged, people that we wronged, we have to appease each one. We have to ask for forgiveness. Okay, that we're doing that also at this time. Kidei sheyiyeh shalom bein kol Yisrael. So therefore, we should have peace amongst all the Jews. How do you like that? Wouldn't that be a nice thing?
Yeah.
To be shalom between all Jews. That's something to aspire for, right? Shezeh ikar kiyam hakibutz shelo yiyeh beinayim peirud livavois umachloikis chas v'shalom. We should be able to all get together, and we shouldn't have any separation. And our heart should be like it was when we were on Har Sinai. We said ki ish echad b'leiv echad. Remember, when we were on Har Sinai, we were like one person with one heart. Because we all had the same views. We had the same feelings. So we were like one people. In Mitzvah Hashem, we'll come to a time like that too. Meharsim hakibutz chas v'sholem, because that's the koyat that separate. Okay, we don't want to separate the kibbutz. We want to get people together. And that's why we have the sukkah afterwards. Right after Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, 4 days later, we're sitting in the sukkah. Bechina sukkah sholem. Oh, the sukkah is called sukkah sholem. Peace. Right? We say it every night in Meir. Sukkah shleimecha. Right? We talk about it every night in Meir. Right? In Ashkivenu, we talk about the sukkah shleimecha. Right? The sukkah is peace. We talk about it every day. Every day we speak about that. Mechinas anani hakavod. The same way, we sit in the sukkah under the schach. We're supposed to remember two things. We're supposed to remember the Anani HaKavod, and we're supposed to remember that we actually sat in sukkahs. Right? You're supposed to remember those two things. When you sit in the sukkah, you have to remember we're sitting in the sukkah to remember we sat in sukkahs. Oh, and we also had the Anani HaKavod, the clouds of glory over us. Those are the two thoughts you're supposed to have when you sit in the sukkah. Right? To remember, to know that to accomplish the mitzvah of sukkah, right? You have your suda, you wash, you have your bread, and then you're sitting in the sukkah, you're thinking about, oh wow, I'm sitting in the sukkah, at least the 2.5 walls, right? You have to have 2 walls and a tefach, which is like a chibuk, which is like a hug, right? 2 walls and a tefach is like an arm, right? When you use your arm to hug somebody, right? So 1, 2, and then the tefach. That's what a sukkah is. The sukkah has to be at least 2 walls, shtei dafnos, and a tefach. 2 walls and 1 tefach. And then, of course, the schach. The schach is the Anani HaKavod. All right? So that's the idea, to feel the love when you're in the sukkah. Okay. Bechinas Anani HaKavod. Shesham hayu miskapsim kol shishim ribui nafshis Yisrael v'anani HaKavod. When we were in the desert, we all sat together. We were all together. We sat under the Anani HaKavod. We sat under the clouds of glory. We were all gathered together. B'schus Aaron HaKohen. Right? So we remember, let's remember something now. When Aaron HaKohen, well, first of all, Miriam passed away first, right? When Miriam passed away, the well that we had in the desert, that rolling stone, that gave us the water for all of the people and all of our animals, right? That was something special, right? That was in the merit of Miriam at Tzedekis, right? When she passed away, we lost the well, but it came back because of the merit of Moshe and Aharon was so great, the well came back. And then we know when Aharon passed away, the clouds of glory they went away. But Moshe Rabbeinu was so great, he was able to bring back the clouds of glory on his own merit, and the stone, and the well that we were getting our water from. Aaron HaKohen was known as this. He was the person that loved peace. Isn't that nice? Mordechai, when you make your bracha in the morning, how do you end off your blessing?
Shalom.
Shalom, right? Right, because you're remembering about peace. Aaron HaKohen, right? Aaron HaKohen is all about peace. Right? You're blessing the people that we can have peace and we should all be together as one. That's the real blessing of Birchas Kahana, that we should all be together as one. With peace. Right?
Who are the 60,000 souls it talks about here?
What?
It mentions 60,000 souls.
It was more than 60. Shishim Riboy, 600,000.
It says, should be 600. It's a misprint.
Shishim Riboy, that's 600,000. There's 600,000 souls that were in the desert. It wasn't 60,000.
Must be a typo.
I don't know. Listen, that Shishim Riboy is 600,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aaron HaKohen was Ayev Shalom, V'roidev Shalom, Ayev Esabriyas, and Mekavim L'Torah. So Aaron HaKohen, remember we learned about this, that Aaron HaKohen would go around to people, there were two people arguing, he would make Shalom between them, right? Husband and wife were arguing, he would make Shalom between them. This is what he did. He spent his time bringing people together. That was his main goal. But why was he doing that? In order to bring them to Torah. See, when you're busy with an argument, think about it. You're so inundated by the argument. You're constantly thinking about that. You can't learn Torah. But if we have peace, so then you're free to learn Torah. Your mind isn't working on the argument. What I got? This guy, and you're constantly thinking about it. You can't learn Torah. So Aaron HaKohen made peace via making peace. They were able to learn Torah. Memela they came to Torah. The main point is to bring this das. The das in that we keep learning about das, that all the worlds are together. Remember that we're not separated from the upper world. We are together with the upper world. Once again, remember, every one of us is alive, Baruch Hashem, because we have a neshama, which is a chelik elikom yimal that comes from up on high, right? Where are the neshamas? Tachas kisei hakavod. The neshamas are underneath the throne of Hashem, Hashem's throne in the highest world, and it comes down in this world. So don't we see we have a connection between the upper world, the highest world, with the lowest world, right? So that's our whole thing, to always remember we're always connected up on high. Every Jew, all Jews, Kol Ezrach b'Yisrael, sit in the sukkah. We all have the obligation to sit in the sukkah, of course, on sukkahs. Okay? L'ramez al kalal nafsheis Yisrael shemiskapsim b'seich sukkah shalom. And that's the idea that we all get together, we all be in this sukkah shalom, to be in the Sukkah Shalom, we all get together. V'al kein nichnasin kol hashiva royin l'seich HaSukkah. This is the most beautiful idea. And therefore the seven shepherds, they come and visit us in the Sukkah, right? We have the Shpizin, right? We call them the Shpizin, right? Our guests. Do you ever wonder something, why the guests only show up on Sukkahs? When it comes to Pesach, they don't come. When it's on Rosh Hashanah, they're not there. Shavuos, you would think they would come for Shavuos, the holiday of the Torah. They don't come. So why do they come? Why do they come to the Sukkah? You ever think of that? Why are they coming to the Sukkah? They don't visit us on Hanukkah. They don't come on Purim. All these nice times, special times, right? They don't come on Tu B'Shvat, but on Sukkahs they're coming. So I'll tell you like this. The Svarim say like this. The Sukkah, the air of the Sukkah is very special. The air of the Sukkah is very special. It's the air of Gan Eden. It's the air of Gan Eden. It's very, very special. If again, like we're learning, if you think about this, the fact when you're eating bread, you can actually taste any taste that you want, right? If we work on refining ourselves, we can sense that the air is sweeter and more special in the Sukkah than regular. So wait a second. So the Shpizin, they're up in Gan Eden, right? They're up in Gan Eden. They don't want to come into the into our world. Our world, this world, the air isn't so nice. Oh, but if we can go into the Sukkah, that's the same as Gan Eden, they'll go into the Sukkah. It's the same, no different. So they'll visit us in the Sukkah, but they won't visit us in our house. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well, they can't breathe that air. They can only breathe.
They want the pure air.
That's all they can do.
They want pure air. They want pure air. And the purest air that we can get is in the Sukkah. Isn't that amazing? And that's why the Svarim say that the Shpizim will come to the Sukkah, but they won't visit us any other time of the year. Kihem bechinas klal kol haroyim hamitim. Because of course we know the shepherds, we have Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? And then we have Moshe, Aharon, Yosef, and David, right? These were all, but Yosef HaTzadik was also a shepherd. He was shepherding his father's sheep, right? And Aharon, okay, and of course David Amalek. Okay, so they were all royim. They're all called shepherds because they all took care of the sheep. And it's such an important thing that they took care of sheep to appreciate a Yiddish neshama. Shekol dor, in each and every generation, heim bechinas keroya edroi, yira bezroya yikabetz taloyim. And we said the same way, there's always the shepherd. There's always the shepherd that takes out his arm, stretches out his arm, yikabetz taloyim, and he brings in the sheep. You can't bring in the sheep if you come there with a stick. It's not going to work, right? You can't bring people back with a stick. If you want to bring people back, you got to give them a hug, right? If you give someone a hug, you can bring them closer. Yikabetz taloyim. Sheheim oiskim lekabetz kol hanidachim ulekayim hakibutz l'dorei soilam. In order to have the gathering of those that were pushed off, and in order to fulfill the kibbutz l'dairos that we should have for generations, in all generations, we'll have this beautiful gathering of all the Jews together. It's going to be that the Gemara in Sukkot says on Chav Zayin Amid Beis, which is 27 on side B, right? Kol Yisrael yoitzim b'sukkah achas. We're all going to go out and be in one sukkah. Could you imagine that? You can have one sukkah. It doesn't matter how big the sukkah is. The sukkah can't be more than 20 amas high, right? We know that, right? The sukkah can't be more than 20 amas high. And the sukkah has to be there's a minimum size. But the sukkah can be as big as you want. Right? The sukkah can be as big as you want. You can make the whole city a sukkah, no problem. All the streets, a sukkah. One continuous sukkah. It's no problem. So all of us will come into one sukkah. We'll all be in one part of one sukkah. Isn't that nice? That's the sholem. That's the Anania covered that we were in the desert. The 600, not 60,000, 600,000 that were under the clouds of glory. Ki bechinas sukkah hu bechinas aseifa v'kibbutz. Sukkah is the idea of gathering together, to be oisef, to gather together the kibbutz and to get kol Yisrael. V'zeh bechinas vayishma Kenani melech Arod. And what happened is the king, who was Amalek. The king of Amalek, his name was Arod. Right? He was in the land of Canaan at the time. Amalek was in the land of Canaan. So it says, Vayishma Kenani, the Canaanite. Kenani is the Canaanite, right? He was the land, the Amalekim were part of the Canaanites. So he heard, what did he hear? Shemei Saharan. Oh, he heard that Aharon passed away. Oh, this is a good time. Wait, v'nistalto anani akavet. Oh, and those clouds of glory just left. Oh, I can get them now. Now I can get. So long as the clouds of glory were there, I can't attack them. It's not going to work. My arrows aren't going to get through. Nothing's going to get through. It's not going to work. Oh, but now Aharon passed away. Oh, this is a good time. This is a good time. Uval hilachem b'Yisrael, and that's why he came and he waged battle with us. Ki ika melchemes Amalek hu im hachalushe koyach shebiyisrael shoya anan polten. Those that were weak, right? The Anani spit them out. The Anani are covered. Those that didn't believe in the power of the Anani are covered. The same way those that didn't believe in the power of the man, right? They didn't taste all the different tastes if they didn't have it. The same way if we're eating our bread today and we don't believe that the bread can actually give us the taste of any kind of taste that we want, we can't appreciate it. We don't get it. So these people that were here in the desert and they were protected by the Anania covered, and they said, nah, this clouds of glory. It threw them out. It was pilot them. It threw them out. Unbelievable. That's what Amalek did. All of those guys that were straddling behind. All those that were straddling behind, those were as Amalek went in and attacked them. But the true tzaddik, the true shepherd, Moshe Rabbeinu is the true Raya Nema. Moshe Rabbeinu went to battle for them again with his tefillah. Moshe Rabbeinu went to battle with tefillah. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't battle tefillahs. He didn't actually take out a sword. Moshe Rabbeinu never took out a sword. Even that time when he was in Egypt and he wanted to get rid of that Mitzri, he didn't take out a sword. He just said a shame of Hashem. Used his mouth. That was his sword, right? He said a shame of Hashem, and then he killed the Mitzri, right? Moshe Rabbeinu did everything with his mouth. He went to fight. He went against their armies, Amalek itself, their armies, and Midaiseyem, and their midos, their ideals. He went to fight against Amalek. Lachnis asef b'soich hakibutz u'miskapsim b'soich hanani hakovet she'ein b'chida sukkah. So those that the Anani HaKavod spit out, because they didn't believe in the Anani HaKavod, they didn't believe in the power of the Anani, so it was pilot them. It threw them out. So but Moshe Rabbeinu and Amalek came to attack them, right? Oh, so Moshe Rabbeinu brings them together. Moshe Rabbeinu brings them in. The Kama K'Moshe Muva B'Zoyra Kodesh Shemevi Shom Parshas Vayishma Knani Linyan Sukkah. Yeah, over there when it talks about it in the Zohar, Kodesh, the Holy Zohar says, Vayishma Kenani L'Inyan Sukkah. Again, why is L'Inyan Sukkah? Because again, the Anani HaKavod, the Sukkah, we remember again, when we sit in the Sukkah, we have to remember this, right? Shulchan Aruch says you have to remember two things when you sit in your Sukkah, right? Two things. What do you have to remember the two things? Shulchan Aruch says he has had the four walls, that we sat in an actual booth in the desert. We sat in booths, and that's why we're sitting in a booth. Also, you had the Anani HaKavod. You're supposed to have in mind those two ideas when you're sitting in your sukkah. to remember that to be Mekayim the mitzvah in the fullest, you're supposed to understand what you're doing. Of course, if you didn't do it and you're sitting in the sukkah, it's okay, but if you want to accomplish the mitzvah, so you have to know what you're doing, right? Mitzvah strichas kavona, right? Okay, ayin sham ki Moshe roya amiti choyze mamshech hanani hakoved afilu laches talkas aron hakoyin. That was fascinating, like we mentioned before. Moshe the anani hakoved. One more time, the be'er, the well that we had in the desert was an exclusive Miriam, right? One more time, just let's review. Okay, the be'er, the well, was an exclusive Miriam and Neviah. Miriam and Neviah, the Torah says she passed away. Then the well went away because it was in her merit. Moshe and Aaron davened to Hashem, brought the well back. Okay. Now we had the well and the Anani HaKavod, because the Anani HaKavod were from Aaron HaKohen, and the mun came down because of Moshe, right? Okay. So now what happened? Aaron now passed away. Right, he went up to the mountain, right, and he gave over the reins to Elazar, his son, right? He became the Kohen Gadol, okay? Now the Anani HaKavod went away. And then the Yishma Kanani, Arad, the Melech of Amalek, said, and he says, I can come and attack them now. Moshe Rabbeinu, daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his own merit, in Moshe Rabbeinu's merit, he brought now the well and the Anani HaKavod, and we had the mud. In the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. How powerful Moshe Rabbeinu was. He was able to carry the weight of Miriam and Aaron to keep the miracle of the well, to keep the miracle of the Anani HaKavod, the clouds of glory, the well, and also we got the manna in the desert. Unbelievable. Ki ha'be'er va'anan u'man kulam chazru b'schus Moshe. The Gemara in Tainus, if you want to see what this is, it's the Gemara in Tainus. Okay, now, okay. Also, oz nochash nechoshes. V'oya im nochash hanochash es ish v'hibit el hanochash hanecheshes v'choy. Whoa, hold on a second here. Wait. So what happened was, right, there was a plague, and the snakes went out, right, and the snakes were biting people, and we were dying. By the droves, right? Snake bites. So Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, make yourself the copper snake with the stripes on it. That's what they use today in medical symbol, by the way. You ever see that? They have the stripe with the stripes, right? That's the snake. The snake that's what Moshe Rabbeinu said. And the Torah said, when anyone that got bitten by the snake, if they looked at that snake, they would live. So in other words, the snake bit them. They look up at that copper snake, and then they're okay. How is that? Let's see what the Gemara says here. Look at this. Are you going to tell me it was this copper snake, or the regular snake is what's dependent if the person's going to live or die? That's the question in the Gemara. The Gemara is asking this question in Rosh Hashanah. Right, on Chav Tesam and Aleph. Right, the Gemara is asking, wait, hold on a second. There was a plague going on and snakes were biting. Oh, and then you looked at the snake. So wait, is it the snake that's causing the life or not? What's going on here? You understand the question? Yeah. They're bitten by a snake. They look at this other copper snake and then they're okay. So you tell me it's dependent on snakes? If a person's going to live or die? Ella bizmanchi Yisrael mistaklin kape mala. Oh, but when we were looking up to Hashem, and we realized the salvation is coming from Hashem. When you realize the salvation comes from the Rebbeinu Shalom, the salvation doesn't come from a snake. It doesn't come from a doctor. It doesn't come from a medication. It doesn't come from a procedure. It comes from the Rebbeinu Shalom. You rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's where you get your hint. That's the remez. We keep learning about remezim, right? The remez is, to remind me. It's a copper snake. Oh, really? I'm looking up to the copper snake. Looking up. That's the point. Look up to Shemayim. Look up to heaven for Hashem to have the salvation. V'hoyim israpin. V'im lav, if not they died, but bechinas remazim. All of this is the idea of the remez. Like we said, the shofar is a remez, right? All of these things are remazim. We're doing things for remazim. Hints. The same idea, right? We're fighting with Amalek, right? Moshe Rabbeinu picks up his hands, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, Hur and Aaron are keeping up his hands, right? They're holding up his hands, and then when his hands are up, they're winning. Put his hands down, they're not winning. Wait, is it bending on Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up? No, the same thing. When they saw Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up, they realized they got to look up to Hashem. When you look to Hashem, that's when you get your salvation. Same idea. Another hint. He didn't say anything. They were fighting down on the thing. Moshe Rabbeinu was up on the mountain with his hands. He didn't say anything. He wasn't saying anything, but they saw his hands. It was a hint. Oh, I got to look up to heaven. That's where my salvation's going to come. They were bitten by the snake. Oh, I got to look at the copper snake because I'm looking up to Hashem, not looking at the copper snake. It reminds them they're looking up. They're not looking at Moshe Rabbeinu's hands. They're looking up to Hashem. You understand? These are all hints. They're all hints to remind us that we have to always rely on the Rebbeinu Shalom. Shein bechinas achas. It's really one Kemuva b'Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah. Shenismechu sham yachad. And if you want to look it up over there in Chav Tes in Gemara Rosh Hashanah on Amid Aleph, you'll see the Gemara brings the reference of Moshe Rabbeinu's hands and the snake and all of these other things. Okay, to teach us that we all have to always look up to heaven because the Yeshua comes from Hashem. Haina bechinas remozim shebedas shehem ikya oras hadas lisboinen bechol eis al yedei remozim hakadoshim shel hadas lischazek lishoyel al amadoi. If you want to stand up straight and you want to always be successful, rely on the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's where you'll get your salvation from. You're not going to get your salvation from any person. It's not going to come because of any army. It's not going to come because of any government or any agreement. It's all coming from Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is controlling every item, every nuance of everything. He controls everything. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's shoyled in the world. He's running the world with his hashgacha pratis. And everything is that when we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, watch, we get the big Yeshuas. There's sometimes that Moshe Rabbeinu puts up his hands, right? He's doing his things, but it's not working. He made the copper snake. Hey guys, don't forget there's these burning fiery snakes that are coming to bite you. Right? These are the different difficult situations. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu is telling them, look guys, you gotta look up onto heaven. That's where your salvation. You want to live? You want to live? Look up to Hashem. You want to win this war with Amalek? You want to win this war with Hamas? You want to win this war with Hezbollah, with Iran? Look up to Shemayim. That's where the salvation is. That's where it is. It's not because they have a better drone and he has a better missile and he has a better this and a better that. It doesn't work. It's not the way it works. You rely on the Rebbeinu Shalom and they all fall aside. They're only there because they're challenging us. They're only there to challenge us. It's the same thing with the snake. It's the same thing with Moshe Rabbeinu's hands. If we rely on Hashem and we understand this, we only rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then we get the Yeshua. Right? There's no way you can run in this world from all the problems, right? You talk to people, you think, oh, he has a very good life. This guy's got a good life. Oh, this guy, I have problems in my life, but the other guy, everything is great. Let me tell you something. Nobody has it great. Nobody in this world. Nobody. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care what everyone has their pekala. Everyone has their problem. There's no such a thing as nobody has there's no problem. There's no such a thing. And that's in this world. But when you go to the next world, All of the things that the Sfarim tell us, right? They have this idea of kafakela, that the neshama is thrown around like a ping pong, back and forth, right? Chas v'sholom, right? That these things, we have these different things, right? We have whatever. There's the guilt. There's whatever. What? Kafakela, all these problems, right?
Kapakela with that.
Kafakela, the neshama gets tossed around,
Oh.
back and forth like a ping pong. Yeah, it's problems.
Does that mean the body's going?
The Gilgulim, Rahman al-Itzlan, and the Neshamas have to come back to the world again. Rabbi Nachman says, whatever deal they make you up in Shemayim, he says, don't take the deal. He says, don't take it. He says, just stay here, punish me, do whatever I got to get. I'm staying here. Don't take the deal. They're going to offer you a deal. He says, when you get to the next world, right, they offer you a deal. You know, you got these problems here, this and this and this. You know, you're going to get this punishment. Or you can go back into the world again. Here, we'll send you to this nice family. We'll send you to this nice family. Then you replay it again. See if you fix it up down there.
No.
Rabbi Nachman says, don't take those deals. Just stay on. Thank you. I did the crime. I'll do my time. I'm done. Because you never know. You may get messed up even more.
So not willing to come to another Gilgul.
Yeah, the Rebbe says, don't. Just stay there. Stay there. He says, stay there. He im listakel elav yizbarach v'laseis einav l'maroim tamid. The main thing is to place our eyes up on high all the time. Rely on the Baruch Hashem, especially in this world and in the next world. We always rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His mercy. Rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu's rachamim, right? Right? We always want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to run the world in the way of Rachmanis Chasadim, right? If Hashem run the world in din, it would be terrible, right? If Hashem ran the world with din, you do something wrong right away, you get punished. Right? In the world of din, right? In the world of din, right? Din, what is din? Din is, you did this wrong, you get punished. That's what din is. You did this wrong, you get punished. To you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I lift up my eyes. I lift up my eyes to you, Hashem. Rabbi Nachman wrote many times in Sichas Haran, in the fifth talk, She'ikahu Yiras Ha'onesh. The main thing is that we should live in this world. He writes that we should have fear of punishment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a stick. He has a stick. You do something wrong, you get hit with the stick. You get hit with the stick, right? Yiras Ha'onesh. The Rebbe says, live in this world, realize, hey, I'm going to do something wrong, I'm going to get punished. No?
Punishment came by the way, somebody would say.
No. That's you may not be around to sin anymore. Right?
Somebody said that people smoke.
Mm-hmm.
He said that if every time you smoke a cigarette, you use a centimeter on the finger, it's not right away.
Right. Yeah, but the Satan does it with those guys too, because they see this guy's 90 years old, he smoked 2 packs a day, and he's 90 years old. So you see, I'll be that lucky guy that I can smoke my cigarettes all I want, and I'll be the lucky guy. Right? That's how it works, right? There are people that smoke, and that doesn't affect them, right? That's all part of the Satan, to get this guy to keep smoking, because it's going to get him. So the Rebbe says, Yiras Ha'onesh. Afal pi shekosav b'svarim tzrichen daiki yiras ha'roimus. Oh, wait a second. The other svarim say, hey, you're supposed to have the year of the reverence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not the Ha'onesh. Yiras Ha'onesh is the lowest. That's the lowest level. I mean, I do this wrong and I get punished. No, you're supposed to revere Hashem. The reverence of Hashem. You're supposed to revere Hashem. That's great. The Svarim say that. The Rebbe says, but halavai, that will be saved by just Yiras Einish. He says, okay, there were people that could live by the fact that they realized the reverence of Hashem, Trivisi Hashem, Lenegdi Summit. They realized Hashem is in front of them all the time. No matter where they went, there's always HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They realized the reverence of Hashem. So of course they didn't sin, because they realized that Hashem is there with them. But he says, Halavai, we can live our lives in the way that we're scared of punishment. And we don't do the wrong thing, because we don't want to get punished. Rav Nosson says, I heard from many big tzaddikim. Rav Nosson was around a lot of tzaddikim. He heard from a lot of big tzaddikim, like the Kedushas Levi, he was around. And he was around big tzaddikim, okay? And they told him the same idea. Yiras Einish. You gotta be scared that you're gonna get punished. That's why I'm not gonna do this wrong, because I don't want to get punished.
Normally we say it's a lower madrega.
And they're saying, Halavai, we have the lower madrega. Right, Halavai, we have the lower madrega. If I can't remember that Hashem is with me all the time, hey, but if I do this wrong, I'm going to get punished. So remember that. Think about yourself then. If you can't think about Hashem all the time, think, hey, wait, I'm going to get punished. And how much we have to work on recognizing the idea that if you do something wrong, you're going to get punished, right? And that's why we want to do the right thing. That's why we want to do the right thing, because I don't want to get punished. And that was the idea Moshe Rabbeinu made that copper snake, right, with the stripes, right, the copper snake. Why? You look up on high, rely on Hashem. And the main thing are the true hints that we get, that we remember, that we're remembering always HaKadosh Baruch Hu by sensing things in the world. And we realize it's not that thing, it's really Hashem. The same way we were looking at Moshe Rabbeinu's hands, and it wasn't his hands, it was Hashem. The same way we were looking at the snake, that copper snake. When the guy got bitten, it wasn't the copper snake, it was Hashem. The same way when you see the Hamas guys, it's not them, it's really Hashem. It's all Hashem. Recognize it's Hashem. And that's how Moshe Rabbeinu fought with Amalek. Recognizing Hashem. We all have to recognize the Rebbeinu Shalom. Bring all those guys that fell back. It said that those guys that were straddling behind, that they got thrown out from the Ananiya cover, they attacked them. Moshe Rabbeinu brought them all back. Moshe Rabbeinu brought them all back to realize, to look up to Shemayim. Forget your nonsense that you thought that the Ananiya cover is not working. Look, you don't believe in the Ananiya cover. Now Amalek came and attacked you. Come back in, remember Hashem, and then you're saved. So they shouldn't be separated from the gathering, right? All those guys that were straddled, right? We said that the Raya Nema, what does he do? He takes his Raya, takes his arm, and he brings back the clay, brings back the little sheep, right? He hugs him, and he brings him back in. That's how we bring back Jews. We give them hugs. We don't yell at them. We don't do this. We have to. You bring. They say you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, right? Isn't that the expression?
Flies.
Okay, whatever. Okay.
I think flies. I don't know. Whatever.
But if so long.
They say you catch. I heard the expression you catch more bees with honey. You ever hear that simply? You never heard that one? No. David, you heard that one?
I heard flies, I think.
Flies. I heard bees. Okay. All right. Either way.
Bees
either
make
way.
honey.
Yeah, so you want to get more bees to make more honey. So you use honey. They see honey. They come to that place because they want to make more honey. Whatever.
So I'm fucking always like try to understand, because the Hasidic way, but in the Torah itself, it's always the rigmur ba'avanim, fight against the evil. Uviata ra b'kirbecha, abnei Levi orgim et achim shelehem.
Yeah, like this week's parsha, we have the Teichacha, right? We have the curses, right? The 98 curses, right?
Yeah. Also, so why is it? So there's
remember, you're a scientist. Hey, look, you're going to do these. If you do the right thing, look at all those beautiful brachas you get. You want to do the wrong thing. Yeah. Shalai yiyu nifrodim mitoich hakibbutz shego mitoich hanani hakavi v'zeh bechinas sukkah shu bechinas hanani hakavi. The whole idea of sukkah, that's why we sit in the sukkah, is the hanani hakavi, the sukkah sholeh, to bring peace, to bring Jews together, to bring peace. Let's just finish the piece now. Ki inyan hanochash nechoishes, the idea of this copper snake, this tavev al yedei milchemes Amalek. Kamuvim b'perish Rashi. It came about through the Milchama of Amalek. That's when the snakes came and attacked us. Uparshas Ekev ala pasuk of Bnei Yisrael nosu mibeiros ubnei Yankon ma'isera. Shekivan shebo aleya Milchama zois hu Milchemes Amalek chozru lachareim. So what happened? So what it says was we went back. We had the fight. We had the thing. We started to go back. We went back because of the Milchama. But we wound up Moshe Rabbeinu brought us all back. Brought us all back to the kibbutz, and we were all saved, and that was the end. He made the copper snake, and then because that was the thing, we ran away, and then as we were running away, we were running back. We were going back. We were trying to run away. Then the snakes came and attacked us. Right, so Moshe Rabbeinu made the snake, the copper snake. We looked at it. We came back to Moshe Rabbeinu. We came back to the kibbutz because we were looking up at Shemayim, and we realized that's where our salvation is going to come from, and everything was okay. So that's what we have to do. What are you confused about?
Why do we look up when Hashem is everywhere?
No, looking up means you just reminds you of Hashem. If you can look around and see Hashem in everything, that's just fine.
Okay.
That's fine. If you see Hashem in everything, great.
And then
But those people that are don't see Hashem in everything. Those people that are looking at the snake, and those people that are looking at the snake for the snake itself, those people that are looking at the soldier, those people that are looking at this machabel, this terrorist, those people that are looking at this rocket, at this drone, and they're looking at for that. No, don't look at that. Look up to Shemayim, right?
So the other thing, you talk about like being punished is a bad thing.
No. Think, the Rebbe is saying, wait a second, if I do this wrong, I'm going to get punished.
Right.
So I'm not going to do it wrong.
But
Why am I going to do it wrong? I don't want to get punished. You see a policeman, right? You see a policeman on the highway, right? He's sitting on the highway and he has his radar gun out, right? Are you going to speed right past him?
No.
Why?
I'll get a ticket.
You get a ticket, right? So if you realize Hashem is standing there with his radar gun, right, and any sin that we do, and if I do this wrong, I'm going to get zapped.
Right, but Din is teaching us something.
It's what?
I thought, but it sounds like we're contradicting the fact that Din is teaching us something.
Din
and
can teach.
It's good.
Din is good, but again,
we don't want to have it if we don't have to.
If I don't need din, I don't need exactly. If I can remember Hashem is there, and then I always do the right thing because I don't want to get punished.
Let the din be
So then there's no din.
Let the din be a warning and not a punishment.
No, there isn't. If you're constantly thinking I'm going to get punished, and you don't do the thing wrong, so then you don't have no din.
Okay, so Din is good because it does remind us that we're doing something wrong and we didn't look up to Hashem.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And that's good.
Right. The
However,
snake.
it's better.
The burning snake was din, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we looked up to Hashem, and then it went away. The problem went away, even though I got bitten. The guy got bit. But he looked at the snake, he looked up to Shemayim, and he got his same thing. The guy he was diagnosed with whatever. But he looks up to Hashem and it goes away. Remember you were saying the other day, I got this problem, but I thank Hashem. I realize it's Hashem. Then the problem goes away. The only reason you get the problem is because you don't remember it's Hashem.
Yeah, because I did something wrong.
Right, but when you remember...
But it's better, what we're saying is it's better if I don't do something wrong.
Exactly.
If I continue to live
Save
the
yourself.
Hashem,
Save yourself. Exactly.
I've saved myself some punishment, which I don't have. In other words, my
save yourself a lot of heartache.
My training is complete because I'm not getting punished anymore.
That's right, yes. So the main thing is to realize if I do this wrong, I'm going to get punished. And we don't want to get punished, therefore we want to do the right thing. Okay? All right, now, we're going to learn a quick halacha, because it's going to get late. We're in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we're in Siman Chav Daled, which is the dinim of Nimsa, Toras, of Psul, B'Sefer Torah. If you find a mistake in Sefer Torah, what do you do? So here we're up to 11, okay? The big Chiddush yesterday was, I just remind us, the Chiddush was yesterday, if you have no Sefer Torah, big Chiddush. If you have no Sefer Torah, this Sefer Torah is puzzle. You found the Sefer Torah is puzzle, right? So you can rely on, if there's the psul in, let's say, Sefer Bereshis, and now you want to read from Shemos, even though there's a problem with Sefer Bereshis, you can still read in Sefer Shemos and make a bracha. Chiddush nifla.
On the Puzzle Torah?
As long as there's no
as long
other
as
Torah.
that book that you're reading from, the Torah is 5 books, right? So if in the book that you're reading from, it's complete. Even though there's a problem with the book 3, a problem with book 2, a problem with book 1, but you're not reading in the book that has the problem. You're reading in a different book.
But it's
You
only if
follow-
you don't have another Torah.
So you,
Listen. Okay, here we go. Let's do this again. Here we go. It's Shabbos morning. They find the psul. They're in Parshas Vayechi, right? Vayechi is the last parsha in Bereshis. Finishes the book. Next one is Eila Shemais. Then we start Shemos. That's another book. Oh, there was a problem in Bereshis. Oh, but now we're going to go to the next book, Shemos. So in the afternoon, Shabbos afternoon, they want to take out the Torah again. They can call 3 people up, read from Sefer Shemos, and make 3 and the brachas, even though there's a problem in Sefer Bereshis.
But it's only if the problem is in the last chapter?
No, it could be no.
Anyway.
I'm just giving you
Okay,
I'm just
it could be
giving
anywhere.
you a thing that it can be. Or he gave an example. Shalom, it's a Yantav Sheni Shel Goliath, right? For the first day, let's say it was the first day of Sukkot, right? And then they read here. The next day they read another book. Oh, so then if there was a mistake in this one, so they can't continue that day. So you can continue. You continue reading it. We said, right? You continue reading with no brachas. Oh, but now we go to the next book. We can make brachas again. That was a very
But
big
I'm
chiddush.
not sure if the party doesn't understand. It's only if we don't have another Torah.
If you have no other Torah, that's if you have no other Torah.
Right, yeah.
If you have another Torah, then you put that away.
You put it away.
And you use the next Torah. Then you put it away. But this is a chiddush that if you don't have another Torah, you can do that. Okay, let's go to Yud Aleph. V'im nikra ha'tefira shebein shtei yiriyas. Now, what happens if the stitching? You know, you sew the cloth. You sew them together, so they're sewn, right? They're sewn in between. So what happens if the tefira shebein yiriyas v'im nisha harayv tofer? So what happens if most of let's say it started to tear on the top or the bottom, but most of it's still there, right? Most of it's still there. Kairin, but you can read from it, no problem. V'im lav might see in Sefer Torah acher, or you could take another Sefer Torah out. The im ein Sefer Torah acher, if there's no other Torah, im hakoyrei hu bazeh hachumash shetzricha likrois by. If you're reading from this, again, here we go. We're making the reference with the different chumashim, right? If you're reading from this chumash, right? Look at this. Shehu bazeh hachumash shetzricha likrois by ein kairim bray ella im kein nisharu lechol apoches chamisha tfiros. Listen to this, okay? If you have no other book, and then you have 5 stitches, right? You have to have at least 5 stitches that are still left. Most of them could have came out. You know, it's one thread, right? So it starts to pull out, right? Right? So if there's 5 left, then you can still, then it's good enough. It's still connected. It's called connected.
So it's not possible.
Right? Then because then it's connected. It's one
Still
Torah.
connected, it's one Torah.
But you have to have at least 5, right? You have to have at least 5. Aval im kera hu bechumash acher. But let's say it was torn in a different chumash. Again, let's say the problem is in Bereshis, and now you're in Shemais. Kairin by afal pi shalei nishru rak shtei tvaros. Big chidushim here, very big chidushim. So let's say again the same thing. Reading in Sefer Bereshis, and they realize, oh, there's a problem. There's only 2, not 5, 2 stitches left. Wow, it's really coming apart. All right, but they carefully roll it. They carefully roll it, right? And they get it. It's back. So now, if they're coming again to Shemos, different book.
It's fine.
Now you can read from it and make brachas because you're in a different book again. Fascinating.
But it's still a puzzle because it doesn't have 5.
No, but he was saying that if it doesn't have the 5, you have no other book. And you're reading from a different book now. You can read from the other Sefer, from the other book because you don't have another Torah.
Because you're right, okay.
So basically, it's very fascinating. You find a mistake. If you find a mistake in a Sefer, in one of the 5 books, and now you want to, and you have no other Torah, and you want to read from in another book, right? You want to read another book, you can, if you have no other book. Now, if the stitching was no good, right? The stitching was, but if it's in the different, if you have 5, no problem. At least 5, you can just continue reading, there's no problem at all. Then just be very careful that it doesn't reopen, right? Doesn't more of them open as he's rolling it, as he's reading from the Torah. When they roll it back, let them be very, very careful so it doesn't open up more than 5. You understand? I don't think this happened too often. I don't think these things happen too often because again, they sew them pretty good. Did you ever see this, Shalom, in your years? I never saw this in any years that the sewing.
I've never seen
The stitches, Sasha, you ever see it in a shul?
Maybe years ago.
On a Megillah you saw? Oh, on a Megillah, okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You have a Torah. It's not puzzle at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through it and we see that the seams here have come apart. As long as there's 5,
It's not a part.
it's not a problem.
It's not a part. It's not considered a part.
It's not considered a part, but is it puzzle?
No, it's not possible.
Not puzzle. Okay, so we could leave it that way
You can-
and use it over and over and over again.
I would not leave it.
I know.
No, if it's only 5, I would not leave it like that because at any time it can get one more out and then you have a problem.
Yeah.
So if it's Shabbos or the holiday and you can't fix it, so then you just be very careful to roll it so you don't lose another stitch because if you have 4, it's no good.
And when you do Hagba, you make sure it's not on that seam.
Well, no, so you can do hagba.
Yeah.
You can roll it. You
Roll
can
it.
roll it and then open up in another part.
right.
You don't do hagba there. No. Don't do hagba there. No, we learned when we do hagba, we want to do hagba by the stitching also. Why? Because it could have been there was a problem in this Torah somewhere in the Torah that maybe there were little holes or something, so the parchment was weak. So when you do the hagba, you don't want to open it up on a piece where the 3 columns are on one page, because if it tears, now you tore the page. You want to open it up by the seam. You're supposed to have the seam, so if it splits, it should split. What?
What are the next scene?
Neck, go to the neck. You open it up by the seam, and we said when we roll it up, you're also supposed to have the seam right there. In case anything happens, it's by the seam, and then the Sefer Torah is protected, okay? Because it's much easier to fix the seam than it is to fix the Torah itself, okay? All right, everyone, we understand that, okay? And remember now, we have to rely on the Rabbeinu Shalom. Don't worry about the news. You hear something, whatever it is, you rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's the one that's protecting us. Like it says, the day that we'll all believe. Ein lanu mi l'shoyin elo avinu shebashamayim. And that's the day when Mashiach is going to come. When we all believe that.
Well, with this, I
Okay,
can tell you,
we
it
should
seems to be a very good idea.
all have a wonderful day and be protected.